What about the possibility, this is not about exercise, pollutants from the sea and the vegetables? The sea vegetables.
It's not picked up, pollution in the ocean, in the sea vegetables. Again, the cell structure, because it's the original plants, does not have the ability to pick up. They did studies some 20 years ago off the coast of Japan, which was a cesspool. And they found out that there was no even radioactivity or pollutants in it. Now, again, washing is a good thing, because the exterior part can have pollutants on it.
And also, I mean, we do have IT, and I think primitive man did eat meat.
Well, anyone that would tell you that hasn't looked at the teeth. If you look at the difference between a carnivore's tooth, like this, and those little tiny stubs that you're talking about, when you eat leaves, you have to sometimes rip the leaf. Again, you're in a big minority. I know white folks don't like to hear that. But 60% of the world's population today is still vegetarian. You're in the minority. And the sickest people in the world, if you get, they have a wonderful book here called The China Study, written by the most renowned nutritionist who's ever lived on the planet. If you really are interested in what I'm talking about, not just here to give your opinion, get that, read it, and you're going to be shocked. I'm straightforward. I'm straightforward. Listen, get that book.
Some people don't feel well on...
Some people have emotional connection to meat.
You know, your diet, I don't know. But
Some people
feel better when they...
Again, let's talk big. 60% of the world's population is still vegan and vegetarian. We have an organization for 51 years who have put hundreds of thousands of people on a vegetarian diet. Every one of us successfully fight the aging process. Every single one of us that do this properly and get the head together conquer diseases. And nobody's ever going to tell me that every human being on this earth should not be a vegan. Again, next step. But listen, the next step, get Dr. Campbell's book, The China Study, the most renowned nutritionist who ever lived, over half a century of research. He'll show you statistically what happens when people eat meat and people eat dairy. That's simple. He'll show you what happens when you eat. Now, there's people like Diadamo, wonderful people, they mean well, but they're completely wrong. We've never once taken a blood type into account, and this works for every type of blood. I'm a type O and my wife's type O. When I gave up meat and gave up dairy, I started to flourish. I started to fight aging. Good people mean well. They're not shysters like Atkins was. But the fact of the matter is, they're wrong. And we're the best example of why they're wrong. Ask them if they have 51 years of clinical research on the sickest people in the world. Ask them if they do blood tests and follow people. Ask them if they do. And the answer is no. They have a theory. And I'm a biochemist first by training. And that is such a bizarre theory to begin with. It doesn't have any realm of reality based on biochemistry or anatomy of the body. But is it better to do a blood type diet than it is to do an average American diet? Yes. Is it better to do a natural hygiene diet? Is it better when I was a macrobiotic? Was it better? Of course it's better. And there doesn't have to be a right or wrong in this thing. There has to be an evolution, a continuum, as we said to the young man. We don't have to have a beginning and we end. We have to be where we are at the time and fit in comfortably with that. And you know, you may be ready for this. Some of you may not. You may have emotional connections back to mom or God knows who with meats or dairy food, as I did. And that's okay. But recognize when you want what we're talking about here at the beginning, this is how you get it. Okay, keep going. A little bit, couple more in the back. Yes.
Dr. Campbell's book, what was the name of the book?
Right, look to your right. It's called the China Study.
Top shelf.
China Study.
Yes.
I'm a woman with master's bodybuilder, and unfortunately I do have osteoporosis. But one thing is that I'm back in training. Now my cardio, I was just 45 minutes between stairmaster and elliptical. I'm having trouble maintaining my weight. It's just dropping very rapidly and keep dropping.
And so you have a trainer who's letting you progressively lift more and more weight and nourish you properly? You're eating this type of food? You're eating, I mean, the Hippocrates diet is the highest protein diet on the planet Earth.
Right.
Are you eating the Hippocrates diet, not a raw food diet?
Like this, exactly. No.
Okay.
No.
So if you do, let's go back to Dr. Cooper again. Dr. Cooper reported to all of us almost 20 years ago when he looked at all the top Olympic athletes, gold and silver medalists globally, that they were all dying prematurely in their 50s and 60s. from catastrophic disease. Why? Because they were still exercising 3, 4, 5 hours a day, but not eating properly. You follow me? So the eating properly, and I'm not talking about fish and chicken, we're talking about off all that crap, highly to digest food, a lot of juices, a lot of nutrition. When you're trying to gain weight, sprouted grains, sprouted beans. We train Olympic athletes, love. If this was working, I was going to show you a film with one on there today. And the fact of the matter is, all of us. I went from 119 pounds to 175 pounds. I've maintained that for 30 years now. The bottom line is, you can't just walk into a gym like a nutcase and start to lift heavy weights unless you want to hurt yourself, and you can't lift weights after that. But you have to get a really good trainer who's not on whey products and soy products, and get on nutritional food, or come here, I'm sure they know about this, and let them guide you with that. A lot of protein, a lot of sprouts in your food, a lot of wheatgrass. And then you start to see a difference. Yes?
Heavy metal detox. There's 4 common ways that a lot of people do. People taking zeolite, people doing infrared saunas, people taking their mercury fillings out, people drinking wheatgrass, vitamin C, selenium. Do you like zeolite? Do you like...
Last night we showed a program that I put together with a friend of mine, Dr. Swilling, out in California, that we took on the road to all the universities and showed medical doctors, the professors. In there I showed how many of us have heavy metal poisoning. Now, how many do you think that is? 100%. The question is no longer do we have it, the question is how much do we have it? How pervasive is it? With that said, the average schmo, quote, holistic doctor is going to tell you to do chelation therapy. That's at the top of the list. It doesn't work as well as far infrared saunas and the use of chlorella. Okay, so that's by far double as effective as chelation therapy.
What is? I'm sorry.
Again, far infrared saunas and the use of chlorella, the algae. Number 2, anyone that wants to go, you can go. There's a lot of bullshit talking going on. So if you want to leave, go leave now. Okay. Number 1 is that. Number 2, can you do other things? Well, mercury fillings, if you don't have them taken out by the right person, don't have a lunatic to take this out, you'll be sicker. You have to basically get those out because you're going to constantly refill the mercury. Now let me also be candid about this. Some of us have mercury fillings, we don't have that much mercury in them. And it's not because your dentist was enlightened, your dentist, just that batch, when he did it, or she did it, wasn't as bad as the other batch. But they have measurement tools to tell you. The scale goes 1 to 10. But that's something we should all do slowly, but the problem with that, the right dentist costs an awful lot of money. And all the ones that don't are usually schmoes. And they don't take the time that you're going to need to do it without recontaminating you. And so that's important. So it's a combination of taking mercury fillings out, doing aerobic exercise, drinking adequate amounts of fluid constantly. For every pound, you require a ½ ounce of healthy fluid a day. Could be water, could be juices, could be combination of juices. It's a lot more water than most of us get. 60% of us have a problem with that, hydration. With that said, then far infrared saunas, then chlorella, and that's how you do it.
Did you recommend zeolite in the past?
We not only recommend it, we give it to everyone with cancer. I take 3 drops, 4 drops every day, and it does take poison out of the body. Zeolite. Let me explain it to you. Zeolite is, in nature, when hot molten lava hits the ocean. Now, ocean water is very similar to the hemoglobin in your blood. 3 things that are alike is hemoglobin, ocean water, and chlorophyll. Here. With that said, when it hits that, like a cell, it converts over and makes something like charcoal. And the zeolite, we know for sure from the work that Gabriel has done, and my observation on thousands of people in the last 5 years, it not only kills microbes and mutagens, it also, that's why we give it to everyone with cancer, it also takes pollutants out.